जय राधा रमन हरि
All right. Hi, everybody. David Fogel, CEO of the Symphonina Foundation, back with you for another Symphonina Foundation podcast. Definitely on a roll this week. We've got some Grammy winner, Grammy nominee combo duo here with Nathalie Bonin and Radhika Vekaria. Nathalie, Radhika, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having us.
My
Good,
pleasure.
thank you, David.
Yeah, Radhika, loud and clear there. You guys have an album that's submitted, Sacred Echoes, for Grammy consideration in New Age, Ambient, and Chant. And normally in the Symphonina Foundation, we're all about spreading the joy of symphonic music to young audiences around the world. But of course, sometimes New Age and Ambient and Chant does have symphonic interests. And since both of you have been involved in symphonic things, and Nathalie very much so, clearly, and Radhika, maybe you too. I don't know so much about your background as a pianist and everything else that you've worked on. You may have some interesting tidbits for me in there. I definitely wanted to get you on to talk about your album and also ask you some questions about your careers, about how you've gotten to everything that you've been able to achieve up to now. So let's start with the album and how you two came together to think about making Sacred Echoes. I'm sure that must have been an interesting little, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that kind of question? Whose idea was it?
So do you want me to go for it or should I?
Well, it was somebody's idea. Whoever's idea was to go for it.
It kind of was the world's idea. I think it was a colliding of things. So I'll start and you just pitch in your story. So it actually started with me having an accident, and the first trip that I was making with my new car was going to Radhika's listening party at one of our friends' place. And I was in a place of, I needed a lot of healing. And when I heard her play, I was completely blown away. And I thought, wow, someday that would be so amazing to collaborate together. And it stayed like that for a while. I didn't know that she knew of my work or whether she did or not. But fast forward to a few years later, I think a year and a half later, I had my own Aspirations album that came out, and I had an event that I put up at the Biltmore, and Radhika was looking for a place to showcase her piece Cali, and I offered her to be part of the event, and she felt like I should be performing with her since it was my event. So it kind of brought us together. For me, it was improvising on a piece that was very new, and it was exploring a new world. And it worked so well that the label who was there in the audience started crying, literally, and later offered us the opportunity to record an album together. So yeah, I'm sure Radhika has her own side, but that was my side of the story.
No, it's perfect, succinct, and true. So yes, indeed.
If you can make the label cry, you've got it. You've made it. It's good.
That's it, right?
All roads lead to tears, my friends. All
well.
roads lead. All good music leads to tears.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So how long did it take you to put the album together?
It was very fast, actually, because I was still in the middle of doing my own album, but we kind of composed it over a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, we flew to London and Vienna to go to the School Farm Studios to record our parts. And the percussion player, Manjeet Singh Rasia, who's incredible, joined us there. Then we had to get the flute parts from my flautist in India, Shashank Acharya. So it was a bit of like an international thing going on with this album. And then the mixing process was the longest process because we had like all the stuff for the Grammys happened for me personally. So it was like a timing thing. It was kind of a bit tricky to juggle all of this stuff. But yeah, I would say Nathalie, it took us about like 15, 16 months altogether, I guess, time-wise, about that with stop-starts.
I guess, yeah, with the composition and the breaks that we had to take. Yeah, it was over about a 14, 15 month period until it was mastered. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Radhika, while you were up for Grammy nomination then for Warriors of Light, you were working on all this too at the same time as you're trying to do whatever promotion you needed to do for that album too, right?
Yeah, I had to, I got a lot of understanding from the label and Nathalie. Obviously, it was a big thing to get Grammy nominated. So I was like, guys, I want to put my 100% attention. So that did, definitely had to carve out some space for that. But yes, it was interesting. And, just to add to what Nathalie said before, it had always been a dream of mine to bring sacred music to orchestra or classical music, because I grew up with classical music as well. So this was a real opportunity to fuse those worlds. And it's yeah, it's been a dream come true.
Yeah, you've done it beautifully, I would add too. Let me ask a question to both of you. So Natalie, you were the featured composer and artist on the Grammy-winning entry Women Warriors, Voices of Change, which was released in 2021 and won the Grammy in 2022 for Best Classical Compendium. And Radhika, you're Grammy nominated last year. Have your lives changed as a function of being recognized at the Grammy level? Or are you the same person you always were?
It hasn't changed my person for sure.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like it happened, that Grammy ceremony was in Las Vegas, and it was a weird time with COVID still happening. So it was a weird time to win a Grammy because it felt like we were on another planet. The whole ceremony had been pushed back for 2 months, and the industry was stopped afterwards. So I don't feel like it in the industry right away, it really changed anything. But it does change just because, people like to see Grammy, winners or any Grammy acclaimed artist. So it does add a shine to the career, but I can't say that it's changed my life, to be honest.
Okay. Radhika, about you?
I think it's a slow burn because as you do see, for me, I'm no more of like in the artist context, and I've been trying to build my career as an artist as well, and not just as a writer, but as a performer. And so for me, in terms of opportunities to perform, I would say that it definitely adds the shine, as Natalie says, to people. And I'm really grateful for that. But I think that you still have to perform. You still have to be honing your craft and doing your thing. And in tandem with that, I think having Grammy recognition or nomination recognition definitely supports that in a big way. But you still have to put in the work,
And you probably still have to do all the promotion and everything else too that you were doing before, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it just doesn't make it. You've made it. It's not that way.
Yeah, I
It's not that way.
understand. I understand. Yeah. So let me ask both of you. I know this for Natalie. You've done a lot of things that are for film and TV and video games, and Bridgerton comes to mind as well. Radhika, have you done other things that are in sync or other scores for projects as well?
I've done more things for musicals, actually.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, I've composed and songwritten for musicals. I had a song that was placed in a Cleopatra musical in France. It was one of the biggest musicals to hit Europe. And I wrote the show-stopping song for that. Had another one of my songs in a show that I sang in, which was a German production. So I've done more things on the musical world. But classical music is something I've loved since I was a kid. I was just always drawn to that.
You were drawn first to piano, if I remember correctly, though.
I was actually, yeah. I started playing when I was 6.
Okay. And how'd that
She
go?
actually played violin, but she's.
Oh,
I did. Actually, sometimes people have gotten us confused when they've met us and they look at me and say, "You're the violinist," and you're the. I'm like, sure, but I don't think you'd like how that would sound. It's my public service. You know how everybody says they have a mission in life and they go, "This is what I'm going to do for the world." My kindness to the world was to stop playing violin.
You're not the only one, Radhika.
Gift to the world. Okay.
Yeah. Right there with you.
I'm done. I'm good. I've achieved my mission of kindness and love.
Yeah.
By not playing, yeah. But I did play for a few years, yes.
But how you got started when you're on piano at 6, and then you pursued it fairly diligently, or did you come and go with it?
No, yes. I wanted to start when I was 5, but the piano teacher said no. She has to wait till she's 6. My brother used to play, so obviously I wanted to do everything he did. And then I played diligently, had piano lessons, did all my grades, all of that stuff until the age of about 17. I played constantly. I learned classical music like Debussy, Chopin, all of those guys. And so it's kind of just been woven into my formative years with music.
Yeah. How about you, Natalie? Did you pick up a violin first, or was it not your first instrument? It was,
Oh, it was, yes, at 4. So my mom took me to a concert of young violinists, and I just wanted to be part of it. So I asked her to join, and that's how I started. And then I did all my classical studies up until university, did my bachelor in performance at McGill in Montreal, where I grew up.
Yep.
After that, I actually had a calling for med school. So right after I graduated, I actually did my pre-med studies, because I think there was a part of me that was already calling out for healing, and my curiosity for science was there as well, from my dad being a psychologist and my mom being a biochemist. So it's kind of funny today to go back to this with the music because I obviously chose the path of music, which led to more explorations. When I came back from that little detour of pre-med, I realized I did not want to be an orchestra player. I wanted to create, build my own voice. And so I played a lot with different world music groups, improvisation, jazz, traveled a lot. And yeah, so that's how I
Yeah,
started.
well, you mentioned being pre-med, which leads to healing, and I have to say,
Mhm.
listening to both of your music, whether it's together or separate, really, it has a very healing effect on me. I feel better having listened to it, and I've had the same effect with Sacred Echoes. So let me ask, in terms of a new age construction, when you're bringing in symphonic elements or any elements to it, how do you go about deciding how to make that music? I know how I do it for a classical piece or a contemporary instrumental piece or maybe a film score kind of thing. I don't know what my process is, but if you ask me to make something that's in the new age ambient chant kind of category, I probably would wander around for quite a bit until I found my way. How did you find your way?
Well, this music wasn't made for a category, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the thing. This music was made because we two came together with a profound respect for one another and admired what each other did, and the label was so supportive and saw that synergy. I don't think making music for a category really serves music, and I don't think it serves the listener. It just happens to be that what we've created, because we both definitely come from that desire to support others. I mean, Nathalie mentioned she was in pre-med. I wanted to be a surgeon. So I think both of us have put into this project just naturally through the way we approach music. At least for me, I probably shouldn't speak for Nathalie, but at least for me, the way I approach it is pretty tender and surgical, is what I would say. And when you approach something with, even the human body is to be respected. And when you approach it to support it, you should be tender. And you should really understand what's going on and how, whether you can even help someone or something. So I think for me personally, it's that what feels right in this moment? What is it? What is music asking for? What is music asking for you to do? Right? Because we can all approach a project and go, well, I want to make this and I want to make that. Well, sometimes it's not about what we want. It's about what the music wants us to express. And so I know that when we first started on this, the label was very keen and excited for us to get started. But we found a flow very, very quickly. The passing back and forth of the ideas was very fast and very, very natural. And it just happens to be a project that falls in that
Gotcha.
arena. But
Gotcha.
I would not say that we made it particularly for that genre.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
answer to my question out of ignorance. That's good. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie, when you're working, and Radhika, when you're working together, but you're separate, right? You're not in the same place
Mhm.
probably most of the time. How are you actually doing that physically? Are you sharing score notation? Are you working out of a Logic
We were
project?
both,
How's it work for you?
well, yes, we were both working from our own studios
Hmm.
and sending each other ideas. So we both had either started ideas and sent it to the other, kind of curious of what the other would do with it.
Yeah.
And it was always a beautiful, wonderful surprise to get it back. I remember the first time that I actually got something because Radhika sent me the first piece, which is also the first piece of the album, Guru Diva. And for me, it was an experiment in a new genre because I had done a lot of, Moroccan music and more Middle Eastern styles, but I hadn't done, you know, this more Vedic and Indian inspired. And I wanted to be true to that, all the while bring my own neoclassical sound to it. So I wasn't sure if Radhika was going to like it. I sent the first one kind of closed eyes and thinking, oh, she may hate this. But it so happens that she didn't. And so that was the beautiful start. And afterwards, she sent me other things, or I sent her different pieces, and it just grew like that. It was very, very fast, as Radhika said. It just, the flow was there, and the composition was actually the fastest part of the entire process. I think that took less than 2 months, seriously. So it
Oh,
was very
Yeah.
inspired and flowing. Hmm.
well,
Yeah, it
Radhika.
was it was almost like it's like you don't have to explain to somebody what you're envisioning or how best a completely other part of the world. I guess you're talking about Eastern and Western fusion here. And when at least I, may have, when I created some ideas and sent them over, I was completely open to what was going to come back. And yet what came back just blew me away, and that is such a privileged position to be in, to be honest. And that's not a common thing, to not want to change, to not want to change anything. It's not a common thing.
A great example is
And
that flute. Do you remember?
yeah, there's a piece on the album that is about Krishna, who represents consciousness, and the idea is that, like the holes in, in a cylinder of wood, right, like a tube of wood, when it gets cracked, that's when consciousness can play. And so Krishna is often connected to the flute because he plays this lila, this whole universe and this creation into existence by the melody through the flute. Right? So we need some holes and cracks in order to play a beautiful tune, and that is life. So it was really wonderful. I hadn't even explained that, and the idea that came back was with this flute all over it, and I'm like, and this is the power of this. This actually just proves the power of Sanskrit and vibrations in these languages, is that you don't have to understand it to get it. Like if you're really attuned and you understand music, you understand life. You understand nature, you understand, that wisdom that permeates all things, and that comes through.
If you find yourself, let me ask it as a question, like a general audience, if you find yourself maybe not getting it right away, what would you suggest to someone in order to help them to get it right away? Or soon?
Haven't had that happen yet.
Nice, like that. Yeah, I know there was absolutely none of us at the Grammy Museum event you played in who experienced not getting it. So
no, I think what happens is when you're presenting this live to people, you preface it and you say, the sounds that you're going to hear are this, and the idea is that it's deeply vibrational. So you invite people into a space where we don't have to be cognitive. Like all your problems start in your brain. So we're actually inviting people not to be in their brain. Just empty your mind. All this mindfulness stuff is actually the opposite. You want your mind empty. And so the music actually helps you move from that. And it hasn't happened yet. We've had questions. I personally have had questions like, oh, what were you saying? Or what did it mean? Because people have an invitation to go deeper. But I've never had somebody go, I don't get this, or walk out or go, this is weird, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
That's
so far, so good. That's true.
Yeah, reassuring.
I would like to add
spirit.
also that combining the two hemispheres, we're going to say, it's been shown and proven that, for example, classical music has incredible properties for, forming the brain, even in the womb, and putting people in certain states. It calms people, and so combining the two is just a natural way of combining both healing properties that are different because the music is not structured the same, but they bring complementary elements to each other. And I think that that's what came out. I don't think we were intellectually going for that. We were not thinking about it, but it just naturally happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you working on next? Are you working on another thing together?
No, let's just get through this.
No, that's not fair. Come on.
We're in the middle of FYC right now.
No.
Well, you're in the middle of everything. It's always something, There's always.
I know.
What is next then?
Go on, Natalie. You can share.
Well, on my end, actually, this, like I said, going back to healing and circling back to almost my pre-med studies interest. Right now, I'm doing a lot of biometric studies. So I just finished a phase 1 study for 1 month, actually, where we captured the data from participants and just to show what actually impacts our physiology during a breathwork and live violin, where I actually perform and improvise according to the vibe and the energy of the room. And it's been really, really special. And I have an upcoming phase 2 I'm really excited about in a couple of months, where we're going to be having more specific gear and uniform baseline. So I'm really excited about that.
Wonderful. How many people were in your phase 1?
So there was a steady group of 10 with other curious, people joining for one or the other, but steadily we had 10 people and we're aiming for 20 for the next phase.
Wonderful. All right. Well, you'll have to keep us posted on that.
Of course.
Yeah. Radhika, how about you?
Oh, just more tours. I'm still, doing stuff off the back of Warriors, and so I'm doing some of those performances. I have also created a planetarium experience that I'm doing with the University of North Carolina, and definitely that being in support of a lot of mental health, especially across student campuses across the country. So it's about cocooning people in these experiences in like immersive environments. So I'm working on that and then touring. And then who knows, we'll see what opportunities there are to play Sacred Echoes more in the new year.
I'm hoping there are very many, and we wish you the best of success with it. We're going to listen to some more of that as we sign off here. But if people want to get in touch with both of you, what's the best way? Nathalie, let's start with you. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Probably the easiest is on Instagram, Nathalie Bonin Music. Just don't forget the H in my name, NATHALIE Music.
The silent H. Yeah. Radhika, how about you?
I just realized we both have the same issue with the silent H. Radhika with an H, because everyone else goes, that's really funny. I just remembered that. It's the fourth letter, the silent H. Please don't forget the H. Yeah, you can find me on radhikavekaria.com or Instagram, Radhika Vekaria. What's that, / or whatever it's called, on Instagram. And yeah, you can connect with us there.
All right. Well, we wish you all the best. And if there's anything we can do at the Symphonina Foundation to help you, just let us know.
Thank you so much.
You.